So I'm commuting to work today for the first time in 2 months, and to be honest, I'm not really sure how I feel about it. I am now a Detroit flight attendant for the time being, and change, as we all know it, sometimes doesn't come easy. It's 11:23, and I have to be at the airport for my flight at 1:47, so I have some time. Whoa, 3:22. So I just got a little notification in regards to my commuting flight, and the time has changed. It's been pushed back 2 hours. What a great way to start off being a commuter. Delayed 1 hour and 35 minutes. First day commuting, and this is what happens. One thing to remember is change is inevitable. So since you stopped by because you want to be a flight attendant, I might as well give you some pointers. So, in all honesty, the first thing you really want to master and a sure way for them to look at you is your resume. The resume is your online profile. It is you selling yourself to them via paper. It sets the entire tone of who you are. If you have a great resume, then you are guaranteed to be looked at further. The resume is the first impression of you for the employer. It will set the tone, and it is used as a memorable impression on yourself. Now, me personally, I think that a cover letter is essential because it too will take the impression of you from this level to this level. The cover letter allows you to target the job and the employer in a very specific way. The cover letter allows you to tell the employer what exactly you are seeking and also how you qualify for that position. Whereas the resume, it leaves for the marketing of your skills, your qualifications, and your experiences as a part of the bigger picture. Does that make sense? So some important components of what you should have on your resume is the obvious, of course, your contact information and the opening statement for which the job you are applying for. So because the resume markets yourself as a whole, you should list the skills and the education and the things that you have accomplished, as well as your employment history. And I personally like to list my references off the bat to them on a separate piece of paper, of course. But for me, it sends the message to them that I take the initiative. You don't have to ask me for references because I will already send them to you. There's been an update. I'm no longer going to Detroit today. So, being that I was going to Detroit today for my reserve day starting tomorrow, a set of 3 days, I was going to Detroit today because I didn't know what they would assign me for tomorrow. And I didn't know if they were going to call me today or tomorrow for whatever they assign me tomorrow. Does that make sense? So I did get the call that I was awarded a trip for tomorrow. And because I'm on reserve, I am pretty much at their mercy. They can do whatever they want with me for 3 days. So, being that I don't have to be at work until 11 a.m. tomorrow on the 15th, I decided not to commute up to work or Detroit tonight. I will just go tomorrow morning, catch a 6 o'clock flight, and be there at 7. That there is the commuting life. So, going back to our tips. After you submit your resume, and if they select, don't mind her. A lot of noise in the background. How's life?
Grand, just grand. Yes.
Well, I think I'm gonna have something. I'm gonna need something to cook tonight, so I may just cook it.
This?
No, a steak.
You don't know what you're doing.
I sure don't. No, I'll just have me a burger. Do I have any avocado? No, I guess I gotta go out and get me some avocado. No, you're not.
You gonna eat it? When you gonna eat it? You leaving in the morning. I'm taking my watermelon. I bought it. I just take it.
Fine, take your watermelon. Guys, I'll be back. So since I'm not leaving today, I might as well finish running my flight attendant errands. You need to get back in the house?
You lock the door?
Yeah. Careful. What is going on? You need to take a breather.
I need my glass case cleaner.
Take a breather. That's what you need to do. You're doing too much. Where's it at? Never mind. Got it. Huh. Thank you. All right, so let's try this again, shall we? and run our errands without being stopped by Mother Dearest, whom I thought was gone. So like I was saying, the assessment is something that comes after you pass the resume process. Once you submit your resume, if your resume is good enough and you are something that appeals to them on paper, the next step toward being a flight attendant is the assessment. You want to answer these questions truthfully. You also want to answer these questions with the question in mind, what would the airline do? Similar to what would Jesus do? WWJD. If the assessment asks, I am always on time for work, and they give you answer on the scale of 1 to 10, 1 being disagree, 10 being agree, what would you pick? So where was I? Oh, the assessment. Not really sure the last thought I said, but the assessment. You want to be sure you answer it truthfully, yet you want to answer with the intent of doing the right thing, right? Does that make sense? So if a statement in one of the assessment questions says, on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being disagree, 10 being agree, I'm always at work on time. What would you select? I personally wouldn't hire anyone who would select anywhere from 0 to 8. Does that make sense? Would you? I also think there are other people who take this assessment and honestly, say you selected 8. Okay, about agreeing that you mostly arrive to work on time, and then someone else who's also taken the assessment for this very same position that you are applying for selected 10. I always arrive to work on time. Who do you think they will select out of the two? You, who selected 8, that you most of the time arrive to work on time, or the person who selected 10, I always arrive to work on time. So that's how the assessment will go. Think in your head, what would you do? Really, I don't think I could really spell it out anymore for you. Cleaning sometimes sucks. But seriously guys, who would be the person that you would prefer to hire? The person who not gives it their all, or the person who gives it 100%? Assessment is a test, of course. It's called an assessment. It's going to assess your behavior, your pattern of your behavior, and if they're willing to accept it or not. One thing you have to look out for, it's the same question but worded differently, and if they're going to catch you in a lie or not. You can't select an 8 on one question to almost agree and a 10 on a different question that's the exact same question but just worded differently. It's a test and an assessment, and you have to pass to get to the next level. It's such a beautiful day outside. I think I'll go sit out there. Now, we're going outside. Okay guys, so the next tip in step 3 is the video interview. The video interview is just as important as the face-to-face interview. And in regards to the video interview setup, you want to make sure that you don't have any distractions. That's number 1. You want to remove all the background distractions as well as the noise distractions from your video interview. Do not have a whole bunch of kids in the background, adults partying. Be professional about it. Like that. We live in a condo, and next door there's children. Don't have those sound distractions in the background. You want to treat it just like you're sitting in a face-to-face in front of someone. It's no different. Another thing that you want to ensure is your equipment. You want to film on reliable equipment. You want to film on reliable internet. In regards to equipment, you want to film or do your interview on a reliable laptop or a desktop computer. Do not film on your iPhone. I don't think you can, but if you could, it's going to be shaky. You won't be able to stabilize your hand that way. If you can, you want to make sure that your background is a solid color, preferably white. Now, when I say treat your video interview just as you would a face-to-face interview, you want to dress professionally as well, because this is the very first impression, very first physical impression that they would have on you. Yes, technically it'll be from the mid-stomach and above, so you could probably get away with wearing pajama pants, but you want to be sure that you're wearing something business attire up top. Because this is the very first impression that they'll have of you, they're judging you by your appearance. So for my ladies, make sure that your hair is pulled back out of your face. Ladies, you can also wear pink lip or neutral, but keep it simple and keep it professional. For the fellas, make sure that you are nicely groomed. If you have a beard, make sure you trim it, shape it up. Another thing that they're testing you on is your posture and your language. You want to be sure that you're sitting up straight. Don't go slouching in your chair like this. Sit up straight, because that's how you would be during the face-to-face. Am I correct? And another thing, a lot of people think they don't have to answer these questions for the video interview in the STAR format, but that is far from the truth. If the question calls for it, then why not? Why not answer in the STAR format? For those who don't know, the STAR format is situation, task, action, and the result. What is the situation at hand? What is the task that you are required to do? Then what is the action that you took to do that task? And in the end, the result of that action that you were required to do for that task during that situation. So for example, if they ask you, tell me about a time that you went above and beyond to meet or exceed a customer's expectations. You may not think that a STAR format is required because they didn't ask you what was the situation and what were the results from those specific actions and tasks. That doesn't mean you shouldn't give it. In the situation, give them the task that was required of you for that situation. Give them the actions that you took, and give them the results. What were the results? Pretty much tell a story. They honestly want to see that they can give you a task for a situation. You can complete certain actions, and then you can produce results. Here's another bonus for you. Describe a time you had to adapt to new information in a situation. What was the situation? What was the outcome? Now, if that ain't spelling it out for you, then I don't know what to do. Like really, of course you can't predict what questions they're going to ask you, but I would suggest you get a handful of questions, write down your answer to them, and practice them. Don't memorize it, but just make sure that you know what kind of questions they're going to ask you and what your possible answer would be. Glassdoor was a great site that I swore by. Again, you don't want to memorize the questions, but you want to be prepared for what kind of questions they're going to ask you and what kind of answers that you're going to give them. Have different scenarios. Don't get in front of that screen or during the face-to-face and not have anything to say. They ask a particular question like this: tell me a time where you witnessed a coworker breaking the rules, or tell me a time where you witnessed a coworker stealing from the company. What did you do? If you never witnessed a coworker stealing, then that's fine. It's okay to state that. However, you also need to follow it up with, what would you do if you were to witness a coworker stealing or breaking the rules? And these particular questions, they go for the video interview as well as the face-to-face interview. So when I say have questions and answers prepared, know the situations that you've been in, know the experiences that you've done, and answer them accordingly. Another tip for this is to smile. Smile when you're answering those questions. You want to smile. You want to smile. You want to smile, smile, smile. I know you probably hear this a lot, but smile. It's the honest to God truth. You want to smile when you're answering your questions because they pretty much want to see if you can be the face of the company when you're answering questions on the airline, when you're answering questions in flight. So when you're answering those questions, you want to have a smile on your face. It may sound corny. Another corny tip. It may be the corniest tip of all things for this video interview, but I tell you, corny works, honey. And this is a tip that you won't get anywhere else. After each question, you want to say thank you. You want to thank them for their time and for listening. It may sound corny, but corny got me the job, honey. Thank you. All right, I think I've had enough of being outside. I think I'm gonna take it in and bake some cookies. What do you say? Let's go. Cookie time. now guys, when it comes to that face-to-face interview, the same rules apply as your video interview. You want to dress professionally. Now at this point you have to wear bottoms. So dress like your life depends on it. Dress the part. You don't necessarily have to dress in a navy blue or black suit or skirt. You don't have to do that, but just dress professional, or show them that if they hire you and when you become a flight attendant, you can look the part. Because after all, again, you will be serving as the face of the company. However, you don't want to overdo it. Do not, ladies, do not go in there with too tight of a skirt and no leggings or stockings and too high of a heels with a red lip and thinking you popping, because sis, I can guarantee you not. As quickly as you came in, as quickly as you will go. For the fellas, you want to be groomed. You want to be well groomed at that. Make sure, again, you don't have dirt in your fingernails. Make sure that your facial hairs is well groomed. Make sure that your suit fits. Make sure that your shirt is tucked in. Make sure that you have a belt on, that you're not slouching and you're not sagging. I mean, who does that anymore, I guess? I mean, I guess people still sag, but it's 2018. Like, step your game up. Those cookies are good. You have to know that it's not just you in the interview. It's a group interview. So there will be tons of people there that are fighting for this same job that you have. Don't think because they flew you out to the headquarters that you got it in the bag, because that's furthest from the truth. You have to earn it at that point. Well, seriously though. Oh, so good. Okay, so that's a good example though. Don't go in there chewing gum, chewing anything, and talking with your mouth full. Where they do that at? You need to stand out above the others. And you do that just by being yourself. Honestly, truly. Truly. Because I guarantee you they will not choose every single person in the interview. Now, because it is a group interview, there will be tons of other applicants going through the interview process with you. So be sure that you mingle with everyone. Talk to everyone. Don't be standoffish and standing in the corner and only talk to the recruiters or the other flight attendants that are assessing you in there. Don't do it. You need to talk and be friendly with everyone. They want to see that you can be social, because on the aircraft, that's what you'll need to be. You'll need to talk to your crew. You need to talk to the passengers. You need to be friendly. You need to be accommodating. You need to be inviting. Do you get what I'm saying? So talk to everyone. And while you're talking to everyone, don't forget to what? Smile. So along with mingling with your fellow interviewees, you also need to mingle with the recruiters. There will be recruit people in the room or in the area with you that's going to be assessing every single thing you do. Go up and talk to them. Spark a conversation with everybody. Step away and pick 2 or 3 of the same people and talk to them again. As far as the recruiters go, why? Because you want to make an impression. You want to make an impression on everyone, yes, but think about it. If you go back up to at least 2 or 3 people that you've talked to before as far as the recruiters, then I guarantee you they will remember you. And whenever they're in their board of meetings or whatever discussing who made an impression or who was memorable to them, your name will be brought up. So make an impression, a good impression. But it doesn't stop there. Yes, it is a group interview. However, you will be getting some alone time. Don't you worry. You will be getting alone time with your interviewers. You will be getting some alone time with your interviewers. You also need to make an impression there. The same rule applies to where the face-to-face. It's pretty much the same type of questions that you were asked in your face, you know what I'm trying to say. In your video interview, it'll most likely be pretty much the same questions. So apply the star format, apply the smiling. You don't necessarily have to do thank you here, and make eye contact when you're answering your questions in that one-on-one interview. Now, for my particular airline, I don't have to state who I fly for. If you are observant, then you already know who. A lot of people have been asking me, what are they looking for during the group activity? In a nutshell, the group activity is pretty much showing them that you can work well with crew. Because on the aircraft, that's all you'll have is your crew. Do not go in the group activity session and try to show out. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't go try to outdo your other interviewees, because that's not it. You want to show them that you can work as a team and as a group. And there you have it, folks. That's pretty much self-explanatory. I mean, do I need to spell it out any more than that? I think not. I think that pretty much sums up the face-to-face. If you are successful, then you would either get a CJO, a conditional job offer, on the spot, or, like me, wait 3 months and then get it. Guys, I was not one of those lucky individuals to get a CJO on the spot. I interviewed in July. I did not get my email saying that I got a conditional job offer until October. I mean, so don't assume that because you didn't get a CJO on the spot, that you didn't get a CJO. If you haven't received your thanks but no thanks letter, then you may still be in the game. Just from personal experiences and close friends' stories, they send out a thanks but no thanks up to or less than 7 days from your face-to-face interview. If you haven't received one after that, continue to look in your online portal where you've applied. If it still says under review, then honey, you are still in the game. But there is one more tip that many forget about. Let's talk about it. All right, so moving on. People think because they got their CJO and they're going to training and they're in training that they're going to become a flight attendant. But that too is not true. The final step in becoming a flight attendant is to pass training. And training is not a walk in the park. When I was going through training, there were people getting cut from the training class left and right. You need to constantly study and brush up on your materials that you've learned that day, that you learned prior to that day, and continuously focus. Like I said, training is not a walk in the park, but yet it's not difficult either. As long as you ensure that you are minding your business and doing what you need to do to pass each test and minding your business instead of others, then you will get it done. If you find that you work best studying in groups, then get a group of people that are wanting to have teamwork to make the dream work. If you know that you study best alone, then do that. Don't be persuaded by other people and what they're doing. You need to worry about yourself, and do what you need to do to pass and be successful in training. That's the final thing. Once you've passed training, then you are successfully a flight attendant. That's it. You've done it. You completed all of these tips successfully, and you can give yourself a big pat on the back because you've done it. It's a huge accomplishment because the odds and the statistics say, honestly, I don't even know what the statistics say. I can't even think right now. You know what? I don't even feel like talking about the statistics. When I graduated, it was the greatest feeling ever because it was such a long process for me to get to where I am. I followed those exact same steps, and I've been flying for 1.5 years later. Guys, all in all, I hope these tips have helped you. Use it as a base. Tweak it, twerk it. Use your pizzazz, your spunk, pizzazz. Is that a word? Which one is the word? Pizzazz. I'm not really sure, but just remember to use these tips as a base, and I guarantee you good results. But you guys know the spill already. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed these tips, if it was helpful for you, then like, share, comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. As always, stay inspired, keep dreaming, and be blessed.